time after time after time, we're seeing the same results. People are bad-mouthing Bitcoin in public and then supporting it in private. We also know that JP Morgan formally bought Bitcoin as part of their investment strategy shortly after publicly throwing it under the bus as a stupid bad investment. You are being manipulated. But if you're watching this, and if you're smart enough, you'll have the opportunity to take advantage of the situation. This is what's continuing to happen. And that's why right now might be one of the most pivotal and most opportunistic moments in Bitcoin's history. You need to open your eyes to the fact that this is a coordinated effort to FUD and attack Bitcoin. And if you're smart enough to think beyond what people are saying and follow what they're doing with their money, you will be on the front lines, on the bleeding edge of one of the most important monetary revolutions in the world. Thank you for watching. If you guys enjoyed this, please throw a like on the video, leave a comment in the comment section below. Obviously, I want to shout out Altcoin Daily for bringing the Kevin O'Leary 2013 clip to the forefront. Very secret Bitcoin past. Now let's look at that same clip of Kevin O'Leary being extremely bullish on cryptocurrencies back in 2013 before flipping the script almost entirely in this modern bull run.
Remember that until yesterday, most people around the world never heard of Bitcoin. Bitcoin, for those who don't know it, is basically virtual currency, the same that you get for blasting aliens in a video game, except now traded globally. You can buy Bitcoins with virtually any currency on Earth and convert back into any currency or buy goods and services with it.
Well, we talked about the story. What really got us talking about Bitcoin was the guy in Edmonton who was selling his house for the first time, wanted 400,000 in Bitcoins.
So I think the best way to look at this is a proxy for the mistrust individuals have of central bankers. If you're willing to take Bitcoin as a currency, a virtual Barbie currency to me, it has no basis, no central banker, no hard asset behind it, but if you don't trust any other currency, this is where you go. So it's essentially what's happening here, Heather. People all around the world are saying, I've had it with my central banker. I don't trust politicians anymore. I'm going to trade with this currency with my computer and my cell phone.
Well, they did that. The reason the Bitcoin shot up was after Cyprus, when they thought the government was going to get the hands on the money in the banks. So people turned to Bitcoins to keep them protected.
So I ignore everything until it gets to $1 billion of market cap.
Okay.
That happened recently with Bitcoin, well over $1 billion in value. So it's here to stay. When you've accumulated a virtual worth of $1 billion and people are willing to trade it and actually buy things with it, turn it back into hard assets, and here's the key, Heather. Owners of hard assets are willing to take Bitcoin. This is here to stay. That's what's going to happen, and no central banker can control it.
So again, Mr. Wonderful now in 2013, very early comparatively to the others in the movement, praising Bitcoin on a variety of merits. Its decentralization, it being accepted for almost any fiat currency around the world, how you can trade it for hard assets. He really outlines the whole argument for Bitcoin in this one video. So wouldn't it surprise you that now 6 years later, he doesn't seem to understand these things at all?
Which is illegal, by the way, but to me it's garbage. Try and do a transaction of $100,000 of Bitcoin. I tried to do some real estate in Switzerland with it once. It is a useless currency. It is a useless currency. That's what I believe. I mean, look, I'm not, I realize people have different opinions, but to me it's garbage. Because you can't get in and out of it in large amounts. And everyone says, yes, you can. But what happens is the receiver wants some guarantee. Let's say you want to buy a piece of real estate for $10 million in Switzerland.
Let's just say.
Let's just say. Yeah. And they don't want to use the traditional transfer system, all right? Which is illegal, by the way, because you have to disclose why you're transferring $10 million into Switzerland. They want to guarantee that the value comes back to U.S. currency at 10. You have to somehow hedge the risk of Bitcoin. That means it's not a real currency. That means the receiver is not willing to take the risk of the volatility it has. It's worthless.
2013, Kevin, very bullish on Bitcoin at just $1 billion in total market cap. Now we have Bitcoin at multi-hundred billion dollar market caps, and yet the bull case is now gone. It's now illiquid and impossible to get your money in and out of, or quote, useless. See how things change as the game gets bigger and more real. But Kevin's not done. He's on a Bitcoin rampage. Just check out this more recent clip when he's discussing it on Squawk Box with Anthony Pompliano.
I want to explore the idea that there's nothing here except raw speculation. No different than when I go to Las Vegas and put my money on black or red on a roulette wheel, because where is the intrinsic value inherent in deploying real capital, let's talk real money here, and putting it into Bitcoin as a storage of value? I get gold. For 2,000 years, including the Romans, they saw value in owning that as an asset class. Tell me why this, which is basically a digital game, that's the way I look at it, has any intrinsic value. Would people actually put real money into this? They make no interest. They can't pay their taxes with it. The regulators don't like it, which is always a problem for compliance. And where's the long-term value? Just this idea that they're going to cut the number of units in half. That's such a scam. Like, that's just totally BS.
Well, we've certainly covered a lot of ground here, from Bitcoin being revolutionary, being extremely viable as an asset, can't be stopped, too big to fail, at just $1,000 in price. Now, at $10,000 in price, Bitcoin is a total scam and completely useless. I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin O'Leary has tremendous plays in Bitcoin. As we've seen, people are fighting Bitcoin. And don't forget, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you've won. We have to open our eyes to the fact that some of the biggest powers that be are actively fighting against Bitcoin in a way unlike ever before. We've never had a sitting president say anything about Bitcoin, and just a few months ago, we got real Donald Trump on his Twitter saying, "I'm not a fan of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, which are not money and whose value is highly volatile and based on thin air." We have to see that right now Bitcoin is in a battleground state. People are actively fighting against this. The biggest powers that be, Mark Cuban to Bill Gates, Kevin O'Leary, these are some of the biggest thought leaders in investing in the country, as well as Donald Trump, a sitting president, now actively chastising Bitcoin, which means that this movement has gotten to such a size, such a momentum, that some of the biggest powers in the world feel the need to fight against it, which in itself is a tremendous victory for cryptocurrency. Let's not forget about Jamie Dimon, the head of JP Morgan, saying that anyone who buys Bitcoin is stupid and that they're going to pay the price eventually. Just a few months later, announcing that they're creating their own cryptocurrency for digital payments.